My name is Miranda. I'm 29 years old, and I work as a financial analyst in Austin, Texas, for 2 years. I've been the devoted wife caring for my vegetative husband, Derek, after a devastating car accident. I fed him, bathed him, talked to him every day, hoping he'd wake up. I gave up promotions, social life, and my own happiness to be by his side. But last week, when I tried to buy myself a small luxury, a designer handbag that cost $2, Orzo, my card was declined. Confused, I checked my bank statements and discovered something that shattered my world. Every night at exactly midnight, $75 was being automatically transferred from my account to someone named Jessica Chen, Derek's ex-girlfriend. That's when I realized my vegetative husband had been awake this whole time, using my phone to send money to his mistress while I slept. Every day I went to work to support us. He was having passionate affairs right in our bed. He called me that yellow-faced hag and said I was his personal servant. Well, Derek just made the biggest mistake of his life. It had been exactly 6 months since Derek Harrison became a vegetative patient when I decided to treat myself to something nice. I'd been caring for him single-handedly for 2 years, and I was exhausted. Surely treating myself wasn't too much to ask. It was my own hard-earned money, after all. But when I went to pay, my card was declined. Strange. I couldn't possibly have spent $2. No, could I? I lived very frugally. Because of Derek's condition, I rarely spent money on anything frivolous. So where had my money gone? I pulled out my phone to check my recent transactions. There were no unusual expenses. I lived so carefully. How could the numbers not add up? So I went to the bank and printed out detailed statements. The bank teller said, "Not many people print statements anymore, especially young folks." My heart pounded with a bad feeling. Soon, I discovered the anomaly in my statements. Every night at exactly midnight, my banking app automatically transferred money to an unknown account. The account owner was Jessica Chen, Derek's ex-girlfriend. This was beyond strange. Was I sleepwalking? But even if I was, how would I know her account information to transfer money to her in my sleep? $75 each time for nearly 2 weeks. Jessica had received $1.50 from me in total. Didn't she find this suspicious? Was she as careless with money as I supposedly was? But I clearly remembered Derek complaining. "My ex is meticulous with every penny. You should learn from her and stop being so wasteful." So someone was definitely using my money to send transfers to Jessica Chen. I shivered. Could it be Derek? But he was still vegetative. No, I had to get to the bottom of this. Maybe there was a burglar who'd broken in and used my computer to transfer money. The next day, after I finished caring for Derek and got dressed for work, I suddenly had an idea as I opened the door. I'd checked. Last night, my phone had automatically transferred another $75 to Jessica Chen. So my house definitely wasn't secure. I closed the door again and hid my regular shoes. Then I quietly hid in the living room. I left the door slightly ajar, keeping my eyes glued to the front entrance. Sure enough, about 20 minutes later, someone opened the fingerprint lock very skillfully. Damn it! Would this person hurt Derek? I was terrified. Quietly gripping a pair of rubber slippers in my hands, I'd never imagined that every time I left the house, Derek had to face a stranger. I was both panicked and furious. I was determined. If this person dared enter the bedroom, I'd fight for my life. I squinted to get a clear look at who was entering. But when I saw the face clearly, my entire world collapsed. It was Jessica Chen, How did she know my house code? And she operated so expertly. While I was still in shock, the bedroom door creaked open. I turned to look, horrified to witness Derek walking out, smiling brightly. Though his steps were still unsteady, he was awake. And Jessica clearly already knew. She shyly rushed into his arms. Derek's legs were weak, wobbling as he leaned against the wall. He lovingly stroked her hair. "Did you get the $75 I sent yesterday? Was it enough to buy pastries?" Jessica nodded. "Derek, you're so good to me. I love you." My heart felt like it was being stabbed hundreds of times. I couldn't breathe. My throat felt strangled by an invisible hand. Derek kissed her forehead. "Good girl. I'll send another $75 tonight." Jessica looked up. "Aren't you afraid that yellow-faced hag wife of yours will find out?" Derek laughed mockingly. She has no concept of money. She doesn't know how much she has. When she runs out, she'll figure something out herself. Don't worry about me not having money to send you. Besides, you're smart and lovely. While she's stupid and boring, Jessica giggled until her whole body shook. Derek continued showing off. "I shouldn't have married her. If your parents hadn't objected back then and let me marry you, I wouldn't have become vegetative." Jessica's eyes welled up. "Derek, what about our future?" Derek held her tightly. "Isn't our current situation perfect? Let that yellow-faced hag go to work to support both of us. Then come home to serve me with baths and massages. I could live this life forever." Jessica squirmed coquettishly. "You're so bad." "Ha ha ha!" Derek lifted her chin, his eyes gleaming wickedly. "Come here. I've been restraining myself for 2 years. I want to devour you completely." Right then, the two of them began making passionate love right in front of me. I bit my lip hard, tasting blood at the corner of my mouth. Tears poured down, blurring my vision, but my mind became crystal clear. "Derek Harrison, you don't deserve an easy death. Death would be too much of a release. I want you to live, and live in agony." I quietly hid in a corner to continue observing. Jessica brought Derek quite a bit of food. Derek ate with great appetite, but they didn't know that someone who just awakened from a vegetative state absolutely couldn't exercise vigorously or eat carelessly. The doctor had told me, once he wakes up, absolutely no vigorous exercise. Otherwise, it will definitely cause motor dysfunction and ultimately lead to paralysis. The corner of my mouth twitched in a bitter smile. I'd waited 2 whole years, hoping every minute that he'd wake up, hoping he'd love me, stroke my head and gently say, "Miranda, you've worked so hard these past 2 years. Miranda, I love you." But what was I waiting for? A pile of filthy disgust. I wiped away my tears and secretly recorded them making love. Then I cropped Derek out of the images and blurred the background. I kept only the footage of Jessica in revealing clothes. I called a private detective agency. "Hello. I need you to investigate the husband of a woman named Jessica Chen." The detective agency quickly sent me complete contact information and background on Jessica's husband. Her husband, Tony Rodriguez, was a boxing trainer who'd participated in many major and minor fights, winning countless championships, but he was known for being extremely jealous, absolutely not allowing anyone near his wife. So if he saw the photo in my hands, what would his reaction be? I had the detective send him that photo. After that, I just had to wait for the fireworks. That evening, I pretended to come home from work as usual, entering the bedroom. As always, I greeted Derek. "Honey, I'm home. Did you miss me?" Being alone at home must be so lonely. "Right. I'll give you a bath and massage later." I stared intently at Derek lying with his eyes closed. I noticed the corner of his mouth couldn't help but twitch upward slightly, then immediately returned to normal. I was furious to the bone, but had to continue acting. I took out a special scrubbing towel from my bag. Then I pushed him into the bathroom. I stripped him naked and patted his stomach. "Honey, look what I bought." I heard Northeastern-style scrubbing feels amazing. You've never tried it. Right, I've learned proper scrubbing technique. Today I'll serve you really well. So be good. I deliberately made the water hotter than usual. As soon as the hot water touched Derek's skin, his toes twitched slightly. I pretended to be shocked and cried out, honey, are my eyes playing tricks? Are you awake? Are you awake? I frantically shook his body while crying, "Honey, if you're awake, you must tell me. I really don't want to earn money alone anymore. Making money is so hard now. Work is so tiring. I'm begging you. Can you wake up and support me? I'm begging you." But Derek remained like a dead pig, completely unresponsive, motionless as stone. I was shaking with anger and pushed him hard. Thud. His face slammed into the cold tile floor. Still no reaction. Even professional stunt doubles couldn't match his acting. Maybe because his body hadn't fully recovered. Pretending to be vegetative was actually more convenient. I continued acting. "Oh my God. Sorry, honey. I was just so emotional. I'll help you up right away." I used my nails to scratch his skin, then pulled him back onto the mobile shower chair. Then I soaked his entire body with hot water. I put all my strength into scrubbing his whole body. When I reached his private parts, I deliberately increased the pressure. "Scrub, scrub." While scrubbing, I muttered, "Your parents always hope I'll get pregnant." They firmly believe that vegetative patients can still function. You don't know. Honey, they even say I'm useless. Can't make you stand up. So I absolutely must help you reactivate this area. I believe that one day you'll be able to do it. I flicked him twice and noticed his Adam's apple bobbing up and down, his heel tendons also tensing in pain, yet he still wouldn't open his eyes, wouldn't face me. Well then, I was perfectly willing to turn a blind eye and keep playing. That night, he endured quite a bit of torture. His whole body was scrubbed until it was covered in red welts. I kept complaining. "This scrubbing towel is terrible. I need to buy 2 better ones tomorrow." The hair on his body stood on end. At midnight, he again secretly crawled out of bed and gently took my phone. After pushing me a few times to make sure I was sound asleep, he started muttering curses in my ear. Damn it. That yellow-faced bitch. How dare she treat me like that? Tonight, I'm going to spend all your money. That night, he transferred the last €5 from my bank card to Jessica Chen. Then he angrily returned to his bed. In the darkness, I smiled. He definitely didn't expect that I'd already changed the linked account. I'd connected my mother-in-law's salary card to my mobile wallet. That card was given to me by my mother-in-law to buy supplements for him every month. My mother-in-law checked the account. Afraid I'd embezzle money, now this was perfect. In a few days when she checked, she'd explode. The next day, I installed a tiny camera in the living room door handle. Jessica was very alert. Every time she came over, she'd search the bedroom first, afraid I might install surveillance cameras. So every time she came, she'd scan everywhere before doing anything. That day, she came for her secret rendezvous with Derek as usual. Derek's whole body was in pain, angrily saying, "That damn yellow-faced bitch got excited and insisted on scrubbing me. She scrubbed until my skin was burning, and she kept poking me. But Jessica didn't feel sorry for him at all. Instead, pouting accusingly, "She scrubbed you." "You two didn't do anything else. Did you?" Seeing her jealousy, Derek became even happier. "I have no feelings for her at all. She could scrub until sparks fly and I'd still be vegetative." This made Jessica burst into laughter. "So you transferred $5, €0 to me yesterday to punish her." Derek tilted his head casually, as if he'd just done something terrible. Jessica kissed his cheek. "Baby, you're so clever." I held my phone, witnessing another indescribable dance. But right then, there was loud banging on my front door. "Open up!" Miranda Thompson. "Open the door now." It was my in-laws. What were they doing at my house at this hour? Derek panicked, quickly stuffing Jessica into the wardrobe. Then he got dressed and lay back on the bed. My mother-in-law sent me a voice message. "Miranda Thompson, I order you to come home immediately." I texted back, "Mom, what's so urgent? I'm not available right now." Mother-in-law, "Available or not, get your ass back here. You need to explain clearly why you've been spending money so fast lately." "Me? Oh, let me unlock the door remotely for you." "Mom, please check on Derek first." Click. The door opened. My in-laws walked in, heading straight to the bedroom. Seeing Derek lying motionless like a dead pig on the therapy bed, they immediately rushed over, crying and calling his name, same as always, as if their son had just become vegetative yesterday. 5 minutes later, I quietly left the living room. I deliberately opened and closed the door loudly, pretending I'd just arrived home. My mother-in-law angrily stormed out of the bedroom, immediately unleashing her rage on me. "You destructive woman. Tell me now, where did you spend the supplement money I transferred for my son? I just put it in and it's already gone." I backed away fearfully. I didn't touch it. Impossible. Only you have that card. If you didn't use it, did my son wake up and spend it himself? I lowered my head. "I didn't spend it. Who knows if you actually transferred the money?" My mother-in-law was so angry she stamped her feet. "You're lying. That's money we saved to care for our son, and you dared spend it. You can't get pregnant. Can't take care of your husband properly. I think you should divorce my son." I suddenly looked up quickly. "What? Divorce?" I couldn't ask for more, but my in-laws thought I was scared. "Just wait. We'll definitely investigate where that money went. If you don't confess, get out of my son's house immediately." I knelt before my mother-in-law, crying, "Mom, please investigate. I think you must have spent it yourself, and now you're blaming me." My mother-in-law was so angry her face twisted. You dare blame me? Just wait and see." She angrily dragged her husband away, slamming the door behind them. I turned toward the bedroom. The detective had just informed me that Jessica's husband, Tony Rodriguez, was starting to suspect her. During the day, she made excuses to go out. At night, she hurried back before Tony finished work. He hadn't found evidence of adultery yet, so he was still silently enduring. So, if I kept Jessica in my house all night, wouldn't that accelerate Tony's explosion? Haha, that's what I'll do. I leisurely walked into the bedroom. I helped Derek pull up his blanket. "Honey, your mom really didn't even fix your covers, leaving you so cold." "Oh, I took the day off today. Not going to work. I'll stay home and take really good care of you." As soon as I finished speaking, I heard small rustling sounds from inside the wardrobe. Jessica must be panicking. She definitely wanted to escape my house as soon as possible, but I absolutely couldn't let her succeed. I walked toward the wardrobe. I could clearly sense Derek behind me starting to sit up halfway. I pushed the wardrobe door lightly. This sliding track seems broken lately. It keeps opening by itself. I suddenly turned around. Derek quickly lay motionless as before, eyes tightly shut, rigid on the therapy bed. So creepy, like there's a ghost in the house. The wardrobe door opening by itself. After saying this, I took out a small padlock from the drawer. Click. I locked the wardrobe. This padlock was installed by my mother-in-law when she lived here. She was afraid I'd steal the cheap jewelry she hid in the wardrobe. After Derek became vegetative, they didn't want to care for him anymore and moved out. I pocketed the key and turned on the TV. Honey, I'm free today. Let's watch shows together. Derek tried to clench his fists several times but couldn't, so he gave up. Maybe it wasn't that he was giving up, but his body was actually starting to suffer real functional damage. I smiled brightly. It's only 2 p.m. now. This show has over 50 episodes. Let's stay up all night and finish it, thud. There was a clear sound from inside the wardrobe. I pretended not to hear. That must be the neighbor kid being naughty again. Ignore it. Honey, let's start. I stayed up all night like this. I even ordered delicious food delivered. The aroma filled the wardrobe all night long. I wondered how Jessica felt inside the wardrobe. Maybe she'd mastered advanced yoga by now. The next morning at 8 a.m., I turned off the TV. I patted Derek. Oh no, honey, I forgot to give you a bath. Let me go to the bedroom for a bit. I'll bathe you when I wake up. I pretended to accidentally drop the wardrobe key on the floor. Then I took out my phone and opened a message from the detective. Thompson, Tony went crazy last night looking for Jessica. He was roaring like a beast, swearing to find the home wrecker and tear him apart. Oh my, what an exciting show to look forward to. I went to shower. Through the sound of water, I clearly heard the front door open. Perfect. Jessica had escaped. I could sleep a few more hours, but if she didn't clearly tell Tony who the third person was today, she'd be the one in trouble. I slept soundly, woken up mid-sleep by the detective calling, Miss Thompson. Tony exploded at home. He beat Jessica's face black and blue, forcing her to take him to find the home wrecker. I covered my mouth to muffle my laughter. The detective continued professionally and coldly over the phone. I saw him grab Jessica's hair and stuff her into a car. The car is heading toward your house. Be careful. I tried to suppress my laughter. Yes. Thank you. I understand. After hanging up, I got up and walked into the bedroom. I discovered the weights in the corner had been moved. Then I turned on my phone to silent mode. The surveillance footage surprised me. Derek had secretly gotten up to work out while I slept. Was he planning to compete with Tony in strength? On screen, his body was clearly clumsy and weak, completely unable to handle the exercise equipment. But he still forced himself to continue struggling. I shook my head. All his physical symptoms matched exactly what the doctor had described as motor dysfunction. It seemed that soon he'd truly become disabled. I cleared my throat and walked over to him. Honey, let me give you a bath. I stripped him naked, about to push him into the bathroom. But just as we reached the living room, the front door was being pounded violently. Open the door. Open this damn door. I excitedly ran to open it. Coming. Who is it? Sure enough, standing outside was the furious Tony Rodriguez and Jessica Chen, with her face battered and panicked. I pretended to be confused. Excuse me, who are you to... Get the hell out of the way. You crazy bitch. Get in there. Tony shoved me aside. then grabbed Jessica's hair and dragged her into the living room. Tony glared at me. "Call your husband, Derek Harrison, out here." I gaped, my eyebrows shooting up to my hairline. "Huh, call. Call who?" He roared. "Don't play dumb with me. Call him out, or I'll punch you too." I backed up 2 steps, pointing at the therapy bed 2 meters away. That's my husband." 4 eyes simultaneously looked in the direction of my hand in my living room. Sunlight streamed through white lace curtains, shining directly on Derek's naked body. I stepped between them and him. Call my husband for what? He's vegetative." "What?" Tony looked dazed as if struck by lightning. I nodded. "He's been vegetative for 2 years. All the neighbors know." Jessica suddenly collapsed to her knees, grabbing Tony's pants, pleading desperately. "Honey!" "I didn't lie to you. It was him. It was him." Tony swung his hand, slapping her like a thunderbolt. "You think I'm stupid? A vegetative patient sleeping with you." Jessica shook her head frantically. "No, he's awake. He's awake." He woke up and immediately looked for me. "I swear, only him." I stepped forward trembling. "You're talking nonsense." "Whether my husband is awake or not, wouldn't I know? I take care of him every day. Last time I was bathing him, he fell and hit his face, bleeding, and still had no reaction. How dare you say he's awake?" Jessica suddenly jumped up. "He's awake. He doesn't love you. He loves me. He's pretending, all pretending." I stamped my foot. "I don't believe it. Impossible." Tony pushed both of us aside. "Pretending or not, let me test him." He strode forward. I was so excited I could barely contain myself. "Derek Harrison. Let's see how long you can keep pretending." Tony grabbed Derek's head and twisted it counterclockwise. Derek was like a weight, lifted and thrown by him. He spun several times before being slammed hard against the wall. What an excellent punching bag of a man. He didn't make a sound. Lying there like a piece of meat, sliding down to the floor, Tony was boiling with rage, charging at Jessica. "Awake. You call this awake? If you don't tell me who the real bastard is today, I'll kill you." Jessica cried hysterically, snot and tears streaming. "There's no one else. Really, it's him. I even know his house passcode." "Oh, right." Tony frowned. "What else?" She smiled bitterly. "Every night he uses his wife's phone to transfer money to me. Over 15. We're so far." "What?" "You're Jessica Chen." A woman's voice rang out from the entrance. I turned to look. I'd forgotten to close the door earlier. My in-laws came charging in. My mother-in-law glared at Jessica. "What's your relationship with my daughter-in-law? Tell me, why are you receiving money from our account?" I waved my hands in panic. No, I don't know her at all. "Mom, she's Derek's ex-girlfriend." Both my in-laws were stunned. I shrugged, looking innocent. "I don't know anything." "Maybe she broke in to steal money. She said she knows our house code." My mother-in-law slapped Jessica across the face. "You thief! My son is vegetative and you still won't leave him alone. Pay back the money now." Everything descended into chaos. Neighbors crowded around the doorway to watch. Like it was a festival. Someone even handed me a bag of sunflower seeds. I munched on them while intently watching Derek lying twisted on the floor. My mother-in-law's face was bruised. Jessica's face was just as battered. During the commotion, Derek suddenly spoke. "Dad, Mom, don't hit anymore." The crowd of neighbors stretched their necks like giraffes. Oh my God, he really woke up to... So he was really having an affair. What a piece of trash. Woke up but wouldn't tell his wife. just focused on cheating. Miranda, get divorced. That's right, divorce him. You suffered alone taking care of him for 2 years. This bastard can't even control his lower body, wakes up and immediately starts fooling around. I threw a handful of seeds in the air, then dramatically collapsed to the floor, sobbing. Oh heaven, what sin did I commit? Derek Harrison, are you even human? My in-laws were both shocked and delighted, immediately rushing to help Derek get dressed and hugging him with kisses. Jessica knelt beside them, beating her chest and crying. Derek, you finally saved me. I'm finally vindicated. But no one noticed Tony standing nearby, eyes blazing with fury, fists clenched until they cracked. Derek was helped up by his parents, tremblingly looking at me. I want to divorce you. Divorce. Then he painfully turned to embrace Jessica. My Jessica. Jessica. I've wronged you. Jessica cried heartbreakingly. I thought you didn't need me anymore. I thought you'd abandoned me. The two embraced passionately, neither noticing Tony launch a devastating kick. One precise kick landed on Derek's vulnerable spot. He screamed in agony like a pig being slaughtered. My in-laws and Jessica tried desperately to pull Tony away but couldn't. Fortunately, the police arrived in time, or I was afraid Derek would die before I could divorce him. That wouldn't benefit me at all. I'd even have to split the meager assets in Derek's name with my in-laws. Loss. Total loss. This house wasn't even in his name. If he died, I'd get nothing. But if he lived, I'd be the wronged party in the marriage. With so many witnesses, he was clearly at fault, though our shared assets weren't much. I'd cared for him for 2 years, plus clear evidence of adultery. He'd have to pay me emotional damages. A month later, I received a psychological evaluation certificate from the hospital. Derek and I went to court. He had no choice but to pay me $100 to $20. €0 in emotional damages. I calculated over the past 2 years, his medical expenses had cost nearly $30. Nor Owen, this deal wasn't a loss. But I still wasn't satisfied. I watched his limping walk, calculating the timing. According to the doctor, 2 months at most. Remarrying then wouldn't be bad either. Jessica was beaten badly by Tony. Eventually, they divorced too. She quickly registered her marriage with Derek. Derek proudly posted on social media that his new wife was pregnant. I commented below with a smile. She only came to you for your money. Can't you see? 2 days later, Derek posted again. It was a property notarization. All assets belonging to him and Jessica, including the house, were clearly listed as marital property. The sole heir was Jessica Chen. A scene suddenly flashed in my mind. When Tony left my house that day, he'd taken my sharpest fruit knife. That day, I signed up for boxing classes. The gym owner pointed to a photo of an excellent trainer by the door. Coach Tony won many awards. He has time recently. Should I have him teach you? I felt a chill shoot straight down my spine. I smiled and shook my head. No thanks. I prefer someone younger and more energetic. This person looks good. I placed my phone on the reception counter and went to change clothes for class. That familiar shadow quietly watched me leave, then secretly picked up my phone. I heard Jessica had blocked all contact with Tony. Now he was like a headless fly, and I conveniently never set a password on my phone. During break time, I saw him put on a jacket and rush out of the gym. Hey, be serious. First lesson, we'll practice fundamentals. I'll teach you some self-defense moves. Yes, I nodded, putting on my gloves. After class, My former mother-in-law called me, crying while telling me, "Oh no, something's wrong. Miranda, I only consider you my daughter-in-law. Come save me quickly." I calmly asked for details. Turns out, Tony learned Jessica was pregnant and went insane with rage. He took the fruit knife and stabbed her in the stomach. Jessica was now in emergency surgery, in critical condition. Derek's health had been terrible lately. He could barely stand or walk. He was planning to get checked out. Before getting results, his new wife was attacked. While waiting outside the emergency room, he collapsed too, with no one to help him. Right then, his test results arrived. Sure enough, waking up and over-exercising had caused severe damage. Even gods couldn't save him. He was officially paralyzed. I sighed and asked my former mother-in-law, "Paralyzed from the waist down?" She sobbed. "No, from the neck down, completely paralyzed." I happily went to the hospital. I heard Jessica didn't make it, and Derek was also in emergency care. Unable to see his wife one last time, my former in-laws cursed her as a curse, saying her death was no loss. Not bothering to attend her funeral, I sat by her bedside, stroking her forehead. "You know what? You were really stupid. If you'd been honest with me, I would have left immediately. But no, you chose to scheme with Derek against me. See, harming others ultimately harms yourself." Jessica gasped for each breath, struggling to ask, "Did you know from the beginning that he'd become paralyzed?" I nodded. "Shh, save some karma. You're about to be reborn. Know what you shouldn't say and don't say it." She trembled. "I want to see my mother-in-law?" I shook my head with a smile. "She called you a curse, said you should go see the Grim Reaper soon, and she's begging me to remarry." Guess what? I agreed. I stood up, not giving her another chance to speak. She was so angry she nearly had a seizure. She'd extracted over $15, €0 from my pocket before, and now the house had become my dowry for remarrying. My mother-in-law said, "She's dead. My son is the sole heir. You two even have a proper will. I'll transfer that house entirely to your name. Will you come back to care for Derek?" I replied, "I'll think about it." Over $15,000, after going full circle, became an entire house. Oh heaven, you really do have eyes after all. But I didn't expect there was an even bigger surprise gift. Tony didn't know Jessica was dying, and he truly loved her. He'd transferred all his assets to Jessica, then quietly hanged himself. Jessica, in her dying moments, became a little rich widow. Unfortunately, 2 days later, she too breathed her last. Truly star-crossed lovers, holding hands as they walked to the golden spring. I won't take what isn't mine. I promised to burn lots of gold paper for them. Jessica's parents had died long ago, so her remaining assets went to Derek, estimated at least $1 million. $5 million. Derek lay motionless on the hospital bed, face pale as paper. I had a friend do my makeup. Pale complexion with a greenish tinge, dark eye circles, reddish around the edges. A pitiful appearance, like someone abandoned by the whole world. As soon as Derek saw me, his lips moved, his whole body unable to move. "Miranda, I'm sorry." This apology, I'd waited over 2 years for, but I'd waited too long. So hearing it didn't bring any joy, but I still had to act. After all, I was used to living in that house. Honestly, I wanted it. I cried while slowly walking to his bedside, timidly taking his hand. "Don't say any more. Every couple goes through storms." He looked at me tearfully, extremely moved. About to strike such a big deal. How could he not be ecstatic? "Miranda, I put my hand over his mouth, almost suffocating him. Don't say any more. I don't want to remember those terrible things. You know, I only hoped you'd wake up. Even if you didn't need me anymore. I just prayed you'd be conscious and happy. You don't hate me. Why would I hate you? Nothing is bigger than life and death. When you had your accident, I swore I'd trade my lifetime of happiness just for you to wake up. Heaven must have heard me and granted my wish. Just listen. Don't actually believe it. Damn. He actually believed it. Mom, did you hear? I was wrong. I shouldn't have left Miranda. My in-laws stood nearby pretending to wipe tears. They just hoped I'd remarry as soon as possible to avoid caring for their useless son. His mouth still worked, which was annoying enough. No different from when he was vegetative. Miranda, as long as you'll remarry me, the house we used to live in will immediately be transferred to your name. I looked up. Really, do your parents agree? Both quickly nodded. Agree. I rushed to hug Derek, sobbing with emotion. Mine? Everything was mine now. I remarried Derek. The house was completely transferred to my name. My in-laws had never gotten along with their son anyway, so they sold their last house and left to travel the world with their suitcases. That day, the house was unusually quiet. I opened an app on my phone, found a video, then walked over to Derek. Honey, let's watch a video together. Derek looked at me lovingly. Sure, whatever you want to watch, I'll watch with you. I raised his bed, holding my phone in front of his face. The video showed him and Jessica entwined in passionate embrace. His face grew paler by the second. He turned his eyes to look at me, unable to turn his neck. You knew everything. You knew all along. I moved my face close, not wanting him to miss any of my gleeful expressions. That's right. You figured it out. I smiled, patting his paralyzed body. Knew all along. You secretly transferring money to her at midnight, calling me a yellow-faced hag while I slept, then fooling around with her the next day. Otherwise, why would I demand to bathe you that day? Did it hurt that time? He gritted his teeth. His face flushed red with rage. I sat on top of him, cracking sunflower seeds, spitting shells at his face while chewing. Aren't you curious why Tony discovered his wife's affair? I coldly watched him grow redder, like he was about to burst into flames. He wanted to cry but couldn't say another word. I pulled out 2 scrubbing towels from my bag. Honey, tonight I'm going to bathe you again from then on. He never had a peaceful day. He knew very well 2 months later, he began refusing food. The doctor said his spirit had collapsed, his bodily functions deteriorating daily. I called my in-laws to report the situation. They just said, handle it however you want. 6 months later, he passed away after a series of mental and physical breakdowns. He finally gave up. The doctor said he died of despair. The cause wasn't me, nor his parents, but because he'd lost all hope. Well, goodbye. Let me enjoy this world for you. After all, I'm rich now. I threw a handful of gold paper money into the air. Fight over it. You 3, on each piece of paper, I clearly wrote each person's name. Go ahead and grab it. I even burned Derek a set of dumbbells, Tony a pair of boxing gloves, and Jessica. I couldn't bear to shortchange her. I burned her what she loved most when alive. 10 paralyzed men.